Since he had arrived, Donovan the Turbine Engine wouldn't stop being a nuisance. He'd tell steam engines that they were old and useless, and that he would one day replace them. David had been so angry with Donovan he'd gone too slow and gotten stuck on a hill. After Donovan had rescued him, he'd only behaved worse, so David began making a plan to pay him back. He remembered long ago when he had taken Ed's train and had gotten stuck because it was too heavy. It gave him an idea. In the yard before the mountains, David rolled up to Donovan as he was getting readied. "You know," he said, "you were right. You're a very strong engine, probably more than a match for me." Donovan grinned. "Yes, indeed I am." "Maybe," David continued, "you can help me with another job? There's a freight train that I was meant to take, but I would need a second engine to help." "I bet you could pull it alone, couldn't you?" Donovan lit up. "Of course I could. Just watch me." He purred eagerly away. He didn't know that the train was really meant for Ed, and that he was nowhere near strong enough to pull it. David knew this, though. His plan was working. He backed down the line to stop Ed from coming into the yard, and watched as Donovan coupled onto the train. Donovan honked his horn and said, "Watch this." He crept forward, and his engine roared with the effort. Donovan's face turned red, and he struggled to move forward, but he didn't dare give up or ask for help. That's when Ed arrived. "David," he called, "I need to get to my train." "Never mind that," David said slyly. "It's all under control." Ed looked to see Donovan struggling and realized what was happening. "You're letting him take my train?" "Yes, and when he stalls, he'll look foolish despite all his bragging." "And how did you feel when you stalled? Didn't you feel foolish?" "Donovan deserves to be embarrassed for once. But he could hurt himself. How would you feel then?" David knew that Ed was right. He called out for Donovan to stop, but it was too late. There was a loud pop, and Donovan could move no longer. Dark smoke billowed from his exhaust vents. "Oh," he moaned, "I've blown a fuse." David felt awful. He quickly went to help Donovan. He found the yardmaster was already speaking to him, and had found out what David had done. "Take Donovan to the workshop," he said sternly. "I will speak to you later. Ed, you'd better take this train like you were supposed to." So David took Donovan to be repaired. As he did, he began to apologize. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have tricked you, no matter how upset I was." But Donovan said nothing. He just looked down, frowning. After waiting for him to accept his apology, David sighed and gave up. He puffed away, leaving the turbine engine with a lot to think about.